Oh, I didn't even do the thing. Think we're good. Think we're good. Think we're good. Think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. We think we're good. We think we're good. Think we're good. What's happening? What's happening? Oh, let me also hit the intro real quick. Let me hit the intro. What's happening, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good? You know, man, when we do these Sunday live streams, I'm opening up the phone lines for y'all to call in. And I'm also, and then I'm going to have that Sam Howell versus the Cowboys last game tape. I mean, it's really hard to watch any other tape because even in games we've won, you know, it's not a potential franchise quarterback doing it. So, and unless y'all have like a specific game that y'all want me to throw on, I'll definitely put that on as well. But let me refresh because I'm not seeing any comments. So maybe it's on my end. I think everything right now is just, yeah, I didn't see none of this. So now I gotta go through and say what's up to everybody. I don't know what's going on with my computer right now. But let me go ahead and put the call-in number up there too. Call-in info. I bet. So yeah, this is just the Commanders versus the Cowboys, that last game of the season. I just feel like that's one of the more fun games to watch. It's the most recent. It was a nice win, and it's Dallas. I just feel like it hit every area that, you know, for the best game to watch. But y'all let me know if y'all want me to throw up any other Commander game tape from this past season or anybody's game tape, really, as long as it's NFL. What's good, Jefferson? What's good, AA? What's good, Commander Central? What's good, Dominique? What's good? What's good? He said finally got up in the live chat. What's good? What's good, Mr. Jones? Yeah, yes, sir. We're going to have a call-in show today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's good, Jacob? What's good? What's good? I got some stuff to say. Okay, bet. Quick question. If you could pick one player from any of the four teams that's not a QB, would it be? Mine would be Trent Williams. Yeah, I was asked that on the Podfathers podcast. Make sure y'all go subscribe to them, follow them, everything. The Burgundy Zone, shouts out to them, man. They're great over there. Like, really good. And then that question was asked, and I went with offensive line as well. I'm not gonna lie, when I answered, I kind of forgot about Trent Williams a little bit, so I said Orlando Brown, but I would definitely prefer Trent Williams over Orlando Brown. But I mean, at the same time, the only reason I wouldn't say Trent Williams is because I wouldn't want to bring him back to this ugly situation with the whole new owner thing. It's already going to be chaotic, and he already went through chaos. I don't think he deserves that again. So I guess I'll probably stick with my Orlando Brown call, but it would definitely be a starting offensive lineman from, you know, each of these teams has pretty good offensive line, especially the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the 49ers. They all three of those teams have great offensive linemen that I would still. LeBron goes out and gets AR-12. What you think? What's good, Warren? I said Warren. Warren, what's good? What's good? I think we're at the very least going to try. I would be shocked if we didn't at least try. I'm not sure if we're going to land them, but I would be shocked if we didn't try. Travis Kelce, but I think Trent's the best pick. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have Travis Kelce, but I mean, I'm not saying Darnell Washington is Travis Kelce at all, but I would prefer to take Trent Williams and draft Darnell Washington than to take Travis Kelce and draft an offensive lineman, because Trent Williams is literally like one of one. Travis Kelce is one of one too, but Trent Williams, maybe some people forgot, man. That man is a little different, a little bit more different. What's good, Jamada? What's good? What's good, Marcus? What's up, Rico? What do you think of Eric Bieniemy? What's good, Unknown Ism? I prefer Eric Bieniemy over like the older, experienced 50-something-year-old coaches. I want to go young, creative, you know, next man up, the next genius type of coach. And Eric Bieniemy could be that, but I prefer Darrell Bevell over him. I definitely prefer Thomas Brown over him. I prefer Shane Steichen over him as well. But, I mean, Shane Steichen and Darrell Bevell already knows. But I prefer those younger guys. So I would definitely take Eric Bieniemy. I would prefer Eric Bieniemy easily over, like, the Pat Shurmurs and stuff. Now, if we were to want to bring in Pat Shurmur as a quarterback's coach, that would be quite nice. But that's all I got for you. That's all I got for you as far as Pat Shurmur. I mean, he would be interesting for 1 year as far as Sam Howell's development, but I prefer to go with a younger boomer bust offensive coordinator, because if he doesn't work out after this first season, if he doesn't at least show us little glimpses of hope, then you just move on. New owner, potentially new head coach, and new offensive coordinator. It's not much that you lose. This upcoming season is probably not going to be overall that great anyway, wins and losses wise. I mean, I feel like we're too talented to lose too many games, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of experimenting going on. Players, scheme, all of that stuff. Coaching decisions, personnel decisions. I think this upcoming season is basically going to be a sacrifice season, and it's just no point in playing it safe with offensive coordinator when everything else you're going to be experimenting with. So I prefer to take a risk and get a young potential next genius, the next Sean McVay, the next, Kyle Shanahan, and I think Thomas Brown has that type of potential to him. Eric Bieniemy may also do. What's good, Dex? Name a player whose departure traded for agency broke your heart. Broke my heart. Trent Williams really hurt because I wasn't here to see all of the Super Bowls. I wasn't born to see any Commanders with Redskins Super Bowls. And so losing Trent Williams kind of hurt because he was like one of the very few elite players I've seen in my lifetime of being a Redskins fan. So it may be that one. I mean, of course, RG3 not being able to get back to his rookie season really hurt. I was really sad about the Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson breakup that we had going. That was really fun. I was sad to see London Fletcher leave, but he more so retired. He didn't just go to another team, right? He just basically quit after that 2012 season, I believe, right? Rico with your head just sweeping in style. Wait, what's going on? I'm scared. Well, Trent is 38-38 on rushes against him in the playoffs. He's different. You seen the movie Pay It Forward? Nah, I don't know what that is. I'm not a big movie watcher, so more than likely, I haven't seen it. I really only watch movies when my family watches movies and stuff, or my friends or whatever. I don't just be chilling and just put on a movie. I'm always super video games. I'm super duper video games or sports. If Porter, Gonzalez, and Jones are all there at 16, who you taking? That's really difficult. I'm not gonna lie. It was Porter. If you would have asked me a month ago, it would have been Porter, no doubt. But I'm starting to watch more Christian Gonzalez. I don't know, man. I might be leaning towards Christian Gonzalez. I'm not going to lie. Darnell's excellent at blocking. He could catch. It would be better than John Bates to Kelsey upgrade. That's what I'm saying. It would be a bigger gap. I think a bigger jump. I agree. It should be all in. I would hope. I mean, I just feel like this is the time to take chances. My biggest pet peeve with Rivera, my biggest pet peeve by far is that he plays it safe. And as far as personnel decisions, players we bring in, and it's worked out very well at times. I mean, even Charles Leno, with as much he got beat towards the end of last season, and Logan Thomas not looking too good this last season, and J.D. McKissick being hurt. But we always bring in these cheap options instead of going for like the bigger ones. Really every situation except for Carson Wentz. And even Carson Wentz, I mean, you could trade a third and a third potentially for a quarterback. With the way that the quarterback market is going, that's technically playing it safe as well. But I just hate how he plays it safe. Even the way in games, I know Scott Turner wasn't a good play caller, but you could tell Scott Turner wanted to throw the ball more. It was because of Ron Rivera we kept running the ball so much, especially because of the quarterback position, and then we didn't really have anybody we could trust to throw it 30 plus times a game anyway. But like, for example, against the Houston Texans, when we're winning, we're just trying to run the clock out. We're trying to get up out of there as fast as possible. Whereas I prefer to run up the score, keep scoring, try new things. This is the time when you're winning by that much. Try some plays and real game action that you would normally only try in practice. I feel like, all of that conservative, playing it safe stuff, I absolutely hate that we do, especially on the run. That's my biggest, by far, pet peeve with Ron Rivera. And I just feel like this next season is going to be so chaotic and stupid anyway. You might as well take risk. And I think taking a risk at offensive coordinator makes the most sense. Because if you bring in, say, a Pat Shurmur, and he's decent, he's good, now we're locked in with him for the next year, potentially maybe even more. What's the best case scenario in that? Whereas you bring in Thomas Brown, maybe he's awful, or maybe he's the next Sean McVay. And I just prefer to take those type of risks this upcoming season. Offensive coordinator, draft picks, I'm going risk heavy. Super risk heavy, in my opinion. That's just me, though. Also, the Cowboys took a risk on Michael Parsons. Y'all knew how much I liked Michael Parsons before that draft even started. I wanted to trade up to get him. They took a risk on him because he had all of these character concerns that people kept talking about, and don't draft him in the first. He doesn't love football. He's immature. And yeah, I mean, he be talking a little crazy on Twitter, but that's the worst of it. Man is a franchise-changing player. I want to take those type of risks. Porter has more upside and less injuries. And see, that's why I've loved Porter. That's why I've been so big on Porter. I think Christian Gonzalez gets in day one, and he's a really good corner immediately. With a little ceiling to him, he could become a Pro Bowler and things like that. I think Christian Gonzalez is really safe. I think Joey Porter also has a little bit more of a ceiling. But then, of course, when you're talking about ceilings, Keely Ringo has the highest ceiling. But at the same time, even as a Georgia Bulldog diehard fan, I'm afraid of taking Keely Ringo in the first round, especially 16 overall, because that man is extremely raw. It's scary. It is scary. But yeah, man, I got my Georgia Bulldogs undefeated going on, you know what I'm saying? But that don't mean take Keely Ringo at 16 overall. That don't mean that at all. Don't take Donovan, especially in the first or second. And you sleep. I'm telling you, you are asleep on. I don't think people understand how crippled the Georgia offense was with Darnell Washington not on it. I'm telling y'all. Ron Rivera wants to run the ball. Darnell Washington is the best tight end you could get in a million years. Literally a third tackle on the field that can catch. Now, he does drop passes, and he's not going to get open on his own, but it's only about 3 to 4 tight ends in the NFL to get open on their own anyway. George Kittle doesn't even get open on his own. He's schemed open by Kyle Shanahan. He's great he's great yards after the catch, but as far as like getting open on his own before the ball gets to him, that's Kyle Shanahan, not George Kittle. And George Kittle's still a great tight end, great dual threat tight end, great blocker, all of that, but I'm not worried about him as far as separation goes, because people are going to look at him as like a third tackle. He'll be open all the time just because of that, especially with Terry and all of those guys around him. Love Emmanuel Forbes. Done all right in the second round, brings versatility to play either tackle or guard spot at the high level. Ron built a good defense and put good pieces in place on offense, just haven't found a QB. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's why I said I'm not the huge fire Ron Rivera at all costs guy. I feel like he's done a lot of good. I just hate how he plays it safe, because I feel like we could be even better if he took more risk. That's my problem. That's why we continue to be average and win 7, 8 games a season. And I hate perpetual mediocrity more than anything else. I hate being constantly 7 wins, 8 wins, 7 wins, 6 wins, 9 wins forever. That's the worst thing to me. I prefer to lose big and win big than to just constantly be right under relevant. Can't stand it. Absolutely, that's the worst thing you can be. That's why I'm really enjoying this Georgia situation, because we went from being completely irrelevant to just dominant. I can't stand being average. I would take Anthony Richardson to compete with Sam Howell. I would too, but a lot of people are really against it. What's good, Viscount? Hope we get that tackle from Georgia. I like Broderick Jones a lot as well. What are the chances? But like I said in my most recent video, there's nobody in this draft I love as much as I love Jamison Williams and Kyle Hamilton last year, or as much as I love Michael Parsons the year that he came out. So that's why I'm more trade back this draft than I've ever probably been. And y'all know I'm trade up for quarterback. I mean, if CJ Stroud is for some reason in range and we feel like we could trade up and we got the ammo to get it, I say do it. But other than that, I'm down to trade back. I don't feel like there's just this generational franchise-changing talent in the range that we're picking. So I prefer to just go ahead and trade back, honestly, if we want to. It worked out very well last draft. I wanted Jamison Williams, Kyle Hamilton. We had the chance to get them traded back, and I'm not even too mad about it because Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson, and Sam Howell alone are crazy pickups in that situation. To instead of getting Chris Olave, one of those top players that I really wanted, you end up with those guys. And I think that's a fair like I could take that. If you trade back, I think that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I think that's good. And then Cole Turner, we'll see how he ends up. Not that Darwin Washington isn't a good player, but you need corner O-line in the first 2 rounds. I can see the argument for that. I think you can end up getting a pretty good, but that's why I'm saying trade back, because if you trade back, you could potentially get an offensive lineman, a really good corner, and Darnell Washington within the first 2 rounds if you trade back right. I would let go of Fuller, sign Orlando Brown, draft Joey Porter and Emmanuel Forbes in the first 2 rounds. Okay. Left tackle, we get that. Yeah, you talking about Broderick Jones. But back to my point, I like Broderick Jones a lot. But even as a Georgia Bulldog fan, I really don't feel like there's just this generational, other than Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, and these quarterbacks, I'm not feeling that crazy franchise changing like what Chase Young was supposed to be coming out of the draft. I don't really feel that for any particular. And I love Christian Gonzalez. I love Joey Porter. I love a lot of these players in this draft, but I don't love them as much as I love Jamison Williams and Kyle Hamilton last year. Now, Kyle Hamilton, maybe I was a little biased because he was from Atlanta, so I don't know. But I don't know. It's not that guy that I just feel like, man, this guy could take over a game by himself. You know what I'm saying? Type of guy. Like, I don't feel like Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson Jr. or Peter Skoronski or Trent Williams. Like, I think they're going to end up being really good. I think they all have Pro Bowl potential, but I don't think any of them are Trent Williams. I don't think any of these corners are Sauce Gardner. I think they all can be really good, but I don't necessarily, you know what I'm saying? So this draft, a lot of really good players. But I don't think sticking at 16 is really worth it. I think you trade up or trade back, but I think staying at 16, whoever you can get at 16, you can probably get the same guy at 22 potentially. Or the guy that you miss out on 16, the guy you get at 22 will probably be just as good anyway. Ron won't take a cornerback first round. We have seen that through history, but you never know. You never know. Corner first, linebacker second, or vice versa. Bijan or Gibbs drops to us, we should take them. Favorite cornerback online still available. I'm big on best player available, but I wouldn't necessarily take a running back. I wouldn't take a running back that high, but I'm big on best player available. I'm not going to focus on need too much. Nah, Ron, got to go for me, fam. I like Devin Witherspoon. Yeah, the guy that can play slot, outside, everywhere. Hey, that man's different. Do not sleep on Devin Witherspoon if you haven't watched him yet. My boy Joe Castles with the donation, man. Appreciate that. Right now, my computer is not allowing my button to work, but you know I would normally do the air horns, man. Appreciate that. What's up, hope all is well. Go Commanders from San Antonio, Texas. What's good, man? Appreciate the donation. Appreciate the support always, man. Are you happy Turner is gone? Now the time has passed. Should we have kept him, or did you believe our offense was held back because of him as a play caller? I mean, I feel like Scott Turner was not as bad as people make him out to be, and I felt like he was definitely the scapegoat and received a lot of the blame that was really on the quarterback, offensive line, and Ron Rivera. I felt like they all shared equal blame. If anything, I blame the quarterback more than I blame Scott Turner, me personally, but I know there are a lot of Super Taylor Heinicke fans out there that disagree. But I'm really happy at the chance that we could get a better offensive coordinator, but I do feel like we can do worse than Scott Turner. A lot of people acting like he's the worst thing ever. He wasn't. There were receivers and all types of guys open all the time, and between Taylor Heinicke and Carson Wentz, just either wouldn't see him or would miss him or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So the offense should have been better even with Scott Turner as the defensive coordinator. So my main point is we could definitely do worse than him, but of course we can definitely do better than him. And I would definitely prefer the potential of Thomas Brown than what I just saw from Scott Turner last year for sure. Please give me Thomas Brown. Wish we could have got Darrell Bevell, but he said no. Wish we could get Shane Steichen, but I'm pretty sure he's going to say no. So, I mean, there's obvious upgrades over Scott Turner, but I also feel like, you know, it was a little over-exaggerated how much was his fault for sure. Basically living in NFL purgatory. Yeah, I hate being in the middle. As a person that's from Atlanta, and I'm not even a Hawks fan, but watching the Hawks during the Joe Johnson, Paul mishap, Jeff fatigue, those days where they were always in the playoffs, they were never bad enough to get a generational player, but they were never good enough to ever compete against LeBron James and the other top teams in the East. Just seeing it from them year after year after year after year, it was just sad to watch, man. The saddest thing to watch. Would you rather get Trey Lance or Anthony Richardson? That's actually really interesting. That's hard. I would probably only say Trey Lance because maybe the 49ers are willing to trade less than a first-round pick for him. Like, all right, say if Trey Lance and Anthony Richardson are going for the same amount, like the same pick, like say if you could get Anthony Richardson in the third round for some crazy reason and you could trade a third for Trey Lance, that's where it gets more interesting. Because right now, my obvious answer is who's cheaper. Who can we get with the lower pick? That's all I care about. But if they're both going for the same exact value, that makes it far more difficult. I feel like the 49ers, honestly, though, will probably end up starting Trey Lance because they didn't trade all those first-round picks and believe in that guy that much that even though Brock Purdy's balling, to just go ahead and give him the keys for the remainder of his career. I feel like at the very least they're going to have a QB competition, and if Trey Lance loses it, maybe we can get him for cheap. Who knows? But I just highly I think I could see a scenario with Trey Lance. We could get him for less than the first. I don't really see Anthony Richardson making out of the first round, especially after the combine. So again, with value, I'm probably gonna go Trey Lance, but I really like Anthony Richardson. I feel like his floor is higher than what people think, but definitely trade back. Last year showed us how to do it. I agree. I think Logan still got it in him. Need a better offensive coordinator. Need a better quarterback too. Y'all saw them games where he would be wide open and Taylor Heinicke threw it so high it would have taken 3 Logan Thomases to catch it. But he was also very slow, so it's on him. I blame Scott Turner somewhat as well, but I also blame Taylor Heinicke. Because, boy, y'all saw how many times Logan Thomas was wide open and the ball would just go sailing over his head. I say taking O-line with the 16th pick. I'm definitely leaning towards O-line the most, especially if we don't address it in free agency. Like, if we just don't get any top offensive lineman in free agency before we head to the draft, my number one need then becomes offensive line in the draft. But I'm just assuming that Rivera and those guys aren't that dumb, and we're going to address O-line in some way, shape, or form in free agency. So, leaving free agency, assuming that we handled offensive line to a certain extent, I think corner, it probably makes the most sense in the first round, but we'll see. I wouldn't mind trading back a bit, grabbing Witherspoon. The only issue with him is he's a skeleton, but he can work both inside and out. I mean, and the only reason Devin Witherspoon, I'm a little worried about that situation is because Danny Johnson outside of the preseason has been balling. Hate him in the preseason. Looks like the worst corner in the league in the preseason for some crazy reason. But every time we need him to step up in the regular season, especially in the second half of seasons, he is like balling. I mean, he looks like one of our best corners sometimes. I don't know what happens. Oh, okay, we got a caller in, so hold on. Let me answer a few more questions, and we're going to get to the caller. Also, Trenton Simpson would be the ultimate Buffalo nickel that we said Kyle Hamilton would be. Okay, I got to check him out a little bit more. Boomer bust for Chase next year. Kinda. I mean, we're to the point where we can give him a 5th-year option this offseason if we wanted to, if we wanted to pick it up. Plan on doing a video on that. Speaking of Olave, did you feel like it was a miss that we didn't draft him? Nah. I never was that big of a fan of a Chris Olave anyway. I feel like Jahan Dotson at times looked better than him last year too. So I just feel like, I'm happy that we got Jahan Dotson plus Brian Robinson and Sam Howell over Olave easily. Get Sean Payton after the sale. That would be lovely. You got to trade for him, though. You got to literally give up draft picks to get Sean Payton. Especially if number one corner is available to take offensive line. Yeah. I wouldn't mind trading back, but I think y'all are overrating how effective it is. I can see that. I mean, I would hope that we can get some type of trade package where we throw in one of our thirds or fourths and we can trade back into the first round and get like an additional second to put us in range to get another really good player. But, we got to see. There's no point in drafting QB. Just give Howell this year, see if he can play good the whole year. Don't worry about getting benched. If he's bad, draft the QB next year. That's a good point, too. I'm definitely down for that strategy. Only reason I'm really interested in Anthony Richardson is because I feel like his ceiling is insane. Like, I'm one of those people that believes that Anthony Richardson could honestly be a Cam Newton or a Josh Allen. I can see that in him. I know a lot of people don't, but I see it in him. I'm not saying it's automatically going to work and he's automatically going to become that guy and it's guaranteed, but I'd be willing to take that if he falls. I wouldn't necessarily trade up for an Anthony Richardson, but if he falls to us for some crazy reason, especially after we trade it back, I would take the risk. But I could also see a scenario where you do everything you can to build around Sam Howell and give him the best team possible. If he doesn't work out, you draft your guy in the next draft. But at the same time, I don't think Sam Howell is going to be bad enough for us to be taking Caleb Williams or Drake May or Quinn Ewers without trading up anyway. We're going to have to trade up next year's draft anyway. There's no way with all of this talent we have on this team. And with Sam Howell, I mean, I'm not even the biggest Sam Howell fan, but I just don't see Sam Howell being bad enough for us to be picking top 10, top 5 in the upcoming draft anyway. We're going to have to trade up regardless. And I just noticed how blurry I was. I tried to fix it, but it's still acting a little crazy. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm blurry. All right, let me go ahead and bring in the next caller, and then I'll get back to the questions. We got... Hold on, let me pause this. Turn this up. Where we at? Let me make sure I got this right. Okay. We got my boy Santiago in the building. At least that's what it says. Desktop audio. Let me make sure we bring on. Okay, I got that ready. All right, what's good? Oh, I gotta unmute it myself. Oh, yeah, I forgot my thing isn't working. All right, what's good, 843? Who's this?
This Santiago, you said.
Ooh, I clicked the wrong button. All right, bet. I got you saved in, my boy Santiago. What's good?
Hey man, I'm blessed. I'm hoping you blessed as well, and
Appreciate
all
that.
your things that you do for our commanders, bro.
Appreciate that, man. Yes, sir. What's good? What's happening with you?
I got a question. Do you think that the next year, the NFC East teams that did make the playoffs, do you see them having a harder time than they did this year because of schedule and going to the playoffs?
We'll see. Who do we play next year again? I forgot the exact opponents. Let me look at the exact opponents. Commanders 2023 opponents. Because it all just depends on who we play. I mean, they may play the better team in a division, but I mean, if the division isn't that good, it may not matter. But I do think this upcoming schedule is more difficult because I remember being, let me see, we play, oh, yeah, because we play like the Seahawks and the Rams and the Patriots and the Falcons, and the Broncos. Whereas, the Eagles and them are going to have to play like the Chiefs and the...
Chiefs?
Yeah, it might get a little ugly. Yeah, it might get ugly for them guys. Yeah, that's a good point. Might get a little ugly.
My other question is I know you done heard about the Aaron Rodgers situation.
Yeah.
Do you? Which I'm like you. I want to give Sam Howell a chance. Do you think that Ron and them will go after Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, yeah, I think they're going after everybody. I think Ron Rivera knows that he is coaching for his job right now. Like, this is it. Like, new owner come in. Ron Rivera, you got 1 year to show me. He may not even have an entire year because remember the Carolina owner came in and fired him before an entire season, and that's how we ended up getting him. So he may not have an entire year, and if you can somehow recruit Aaron Rodgers to the Commanders and we're balling out and we're on the way to the playoffs, that could save his job rather than putting your faith in a Sam Howell who should have started more than one game, but still only started one game, only completed 11 passes. That's really risky to be Ron Rivera and to assume that's going to be your starting quarterback the next season, and you're going to be able to keep your job beyond that. So I think he's going to swing for all of those guys. Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think we get any of them, but I'm pretty sure Ron Rivera is going to at the very least try very hard to get all of those guys. Might even beg them.
Well, hey, look, I appreciate you taking my call. Hey, look, keep doing what you're doing. I always pay attention to your content and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'll be back at you next time, bro. You stay blessed and hail to the Commanders.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Great call to start it off, man. My boy Santiago got you saved in and everything. What's good, man? Yes, sir, my boy. Let me scroll up and see if I can answer any questions that I may have missed. Would you trade up for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? I definitely would, but I know that we're not. I know for a fact we're not. Okay, hold on. We got Terry from Knoxville in the building. Hold on, let me bring my boy in. Let me unmute. I got to do everything manually now. All right, what's good, Terry?
What's going on with you, Rico?
What's happening? Chilling, man.
Nah, man, I was going to see if we could get all the Georgia fans that's out here listening to maybe send a little bit of money, man, so y'all can get Stetson out of jail right now.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Hey, man, let him have a good time, man. We ain't worried about that. He earned it.
Dude, man, he damn sure did. Dude, so I gotta throw something out there for everybody, man. All these people talking about tagging and trading Daron Payne.
Mm-hmm.
That right there would be hurting so bad to watch that man go somewhere else and continue what he showed this season and only get better.
Yep.
That sounds like a typical Dan Snyder gonna come back and bite us in the ass move. So I'm gonna hang up and let you respond on that one.
All right, man. Appreciate that. My boy Terry, man. Thank you for the Georgia shout out too. And yes, Stetson Bennett, he can do whatever he want. But yeah, man, appreciate that, Terry. Yes, sir. Oh, let me make sure I mute the desktop so y'all don't have to hear that stupid song that I listen to. But yeah, first of all, yes, Stetson Bennett, man. Do whatever you want. At this point, Georgia royalty. We ain't worried about none of that. And we got a new caller too, my boy Kevin from Detroit. I'm gonna bring you in soon. But yeah, as far as Daron Payne, I want to keep him, please. I mean, I could see a strategy for franchise tagging him, trading or whatever, whatever you want to do, or franchise tagging him and keeping him. But I think you pay him long term. I mean, I feel like as long as you get ahead of it, don't wait. Don't let all of these other defensive linemen that are waiting for top contracts to get signed before him. You be the first one to sign your defensive lineman this offseason. Day one. Pay him exactly what he wants, even if it's slightly over $21 million a year. You're going to get 28 back for Carson Wentz anyway, 26, around a little over 26 million anyway. Go ahead and put the majority of that to Daron Payne over time. I mean, maybe eventually you just couldn't pay Montez Sweat and you may have to replace him. But I think you keep Daron Payne, man. I think he balled out enough to show it. And then again, one of my main things about letting good players go, and which is why I'm really happy that we kept Jonathan Allen and Terry McLaurin long term, is that when you don't pay your guys the money that they want, it's hard to even bring in free agents. It's hard for players to even want to play well. Because Daron Payne goes out there and shows, okay, I could get double-digit sacks in the season, and then we don't pay him. What messages that sent to the rest of the team or even free agents at other teams looking at the Commanders? So I think you got to find a way to pay him. I feel like you could ultimately end up replacing Montez Sweat in a way easier than you could have Daron Payne, which is kind of crazy to say. Montez Sweat from Atlanta too, so yeah, y'all know I want to keep him, but I think it's smarter to go ahead and pay Payne now and figure out Sweat later, and whatever happens, happens. But I think we have enough cap space. Again, make sure you pay Daron Payne first, though. Get him out the way, because a lot of the all-pro defensive linemen, the guys that got at the very least got votes, they're either in their last contract, the last year of their contract this upcoming season, or they're complete free agents just like Daron Payne. So a lot of defensive linemen are going to be getting paid big money. Go ahead and get Daron Payne out the way first. Go ahead and set the market with him before other guys set the market, and then you got to set the market. Let me go ahead and bring my boy Kevin from Detroit in here. Let me go ahead and bring him in. What's good, Kevin?
Hey, what up, though, Playboy? How you feeling, man?
What's happening, man? Just chilling, cooling.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, but look, though, Daron Payne, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I signed him and all that good stuff, right? But I want to hop on the defensive line, you know what I'm saying? And what I think is that we got some terrible coaches, period. You know what I'm saying? You do, you know what I mean? Because didn't Jack Del Rio coach Julius Pepper?
Yeah, technically, yeah. And Von Miller at a time.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? I love Chase Young, man. I love that Bama to death. You know what I'm saying? But he's not balling. Like, yeah, he's not balling. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? He's terrible with his hands.
Yeah, it's still pretty
bad.
bad.
I mean? Because he's supposed to be better. He's supposed to be better than fucking Nick Bosa. You know what I'm saying? And Nick Bosa is just showing off. You know what I mean?
Running up the score.
And yeah, I mean, I remember a couple years ago when they were talking about how the dude that got fired, the D-line coach got fired. He was talking about, he was showing a whole rack of film on Ryan bum-ass Kerrigan. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that was destruction right there. You know what I'm saying? Because just like you was talking about, just like Louis T was talking about, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, yeah, Ryan Kerrigan had a nice little career and all this and that. You know what I'm saying? It was just a wrong analogy to put his film on, you know what I mean? Put his film on there for Chase Young to follow. I just think that's just totally wrong. You know what I mean? But to get back to the Daron Payne thing, I like Daron Payne more than I like Jonathan Allen. You know what I'm saying? My opinion. You know what I'm saying? My opinion.
I mean, I can see that with the athleticism. He's definitely more athletic and stronger for sure.
Yeah, Daron Payne's an animal, dog. You know what I'm saying? What he had, 11 sacks this year?
Yeah, I think 11.5 by the end of it. Even with the game that he disappeared, even the game he disappeared in the second game against the Giants, outside of that, Daron Payne had a great season.
Yeah, man. But you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, man, I just think that we got some terrible coaches, man, and Ron Rivera especially. You know what I'm saying? Scott Turner. You know what I'm saying? That was just ugly, man. You know what I'm saying? That was just ugly. You know what I'm saying? But Ron Rivera, you know what I'm saying? He's too loyal to default to, you know what I'm saying, his guys. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see all the commanders players coming in. You know what I mean? It's just a mess, man. It's just a mess. And I don't understand how you got a number one receiver in Terry McLaurin. You know what I'm saying? But you don't feed him the ball like he's a number one receiver. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I you know, John Dawson, you know what I'm saying? He nice. Yeah, I give him that. But Terry McLaurin is that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's that dude. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna sit back and watch how this whole off season unfolds. And now I would like to see Eric Bieniemy, you know, take get the OC job. You know what I mean? He would be my front runner. But I do like the other dude too, though. The young dude that had all them titles, running backs coach.
Thomas Brown.
What's his name? Yeah.
Thomas Brown from the Rams.
I would like to see him though, but Eric Bieniemy would be my first choice though.
Bet.
You know what I'm saying? But what I think is though is that I think Ron Rivera should have been fired too. But I understand that they're waiting on a new owner and all this and that. But
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Ron Rivera, he's just some garbage to me, man. You know, I think we need something young, innovative. You know what I mean? That relate to the players and whatnot. But my 5 is up, man. Hey, I'm gonna holler at you, Rico, man. Thanks for accepting my call, man. I love what you're doing, son. Keep doing.
Appreciate it. My boy Kevin all the way in Detroit, man. Appreciate that.
All right, Playboy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me bring on my boy Merle. We got my boy Merle up next. How you doing over there, Merle?
What's up, Rico?
What's good?
Not much, man. What do you think about the Eric Bieniemy rumor?
You said you asking? You said I heard about it.
Yeah, did you hear about the Eric Bieniemy offensive coordinator rumor?
Yeah, the what was it? The Benjamin Albright guy that said like it just sounds like it makes the most sense for him to come here as far as like us as an opportunity, and the Chiefs don't even want him anymore. That's why they only signed him to like a 1-year contract and things like that. And like he's pretty much leaving Kansas City. It just depends on where he wants to land, and we make a lot of sense. I remember that was Benjamin Albright that said that, right?
Yeah, him and Ian Rappaport. So I'm assuming that they, you know, him and Patrick Mahomes are not getting along. I've heard things about Eric Bieniemy about players. He rubbing them the wrong way.
Oh, really?
For a long time now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, if people saw the season early, there was like an altercation between him and Patrick Mahomes. The first time Cincinnati and Kansas City played each other at halftime, where Andy Reid had to step in and break them apart. Pretty much, I think Kansas City had their fill of him. There's nothing else he can do there or learn there from Andy Reid. So it makes sense for them to let him go. I think Andy Reid's one of those coaches that likes to bring up other talented coaches to give them a chance to be offensive coordinators and whatnot.
That's a pretty good thing to do.
He's probably looking at somebody like his running back coach, Greg Lewis. I've heard good things about him.
Okay. I haven't heard about him.
With Washington, though, they're in a unique situation because I know Ron talked about that Sam Howell's going in QB1, but with an unproven talent like that, anybody who decides to take this OC job is going to want to bring in their own quarterback.
I can see that.
Let's say for instance, like Anthony Lynn decides to take the job. Well, he's going to want to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, somebody that would know his offense and would make him look good. Because, like you said, this may be just a one-year thing. So they're not going to risk their reputation with a quarterback that's only started one NFL game in his whole career, especially a fifth-round draft pick.
Only completed 11 passes.
Exactly. Plus, whoever the OC is probably going to want his own style. I mean, his own quarterback coach, his own running back coach, wide receiver coach, O-line coach, tight end coach. So quite frankly, it's going to be an overhaul on the offensive side of the ball as far as coaches are.
Yep.
So that's why they're probably having the problem now. They'll probably fill the position this week. After hearing this news today, they'll probably beat Eric the enemy. But they look for him to bring in his own coach. What I do like about it is that he comes from an offensive system that knows how to use move tight ends. And one of my biggest issues with Scott Turner is he never used Cole Turner the way I thought he should have.
Yeah, that was really bad. That was really bad.
Right. If you look at Andy Reid's offensive tree, he's always had that move tight end that could get you yards when you need it. And then you look at some of his disciples like Doug Pierce, and look what he did with Evan Ingram or Zach Ertz before that. They know how to use tight ends, especially move tight ends.
Yeah.
They know how to keep that position. As far as this draft is concerned, this is not a great draft in my opinion. There's not a lot of great players coming out. So at 16, if Roger Jones is there, I definitely pick him up because I think the other two are going to get drafted before him.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I would move Charles Lynn to right tackle and put him right at left tackle. Because like you said, if you watch Georgia football as much as you and I do, you know how good he is and how athletic he is.
Didn't allow a single sack all season.
Right. So he can come in and get instant impact. I know a lot of people will get rubbed the wrong way about this one, but I'm not re-signing Daron Payne. If you look at what SpotCap had him market value, it's like at $19 million. But you know you're going to overpay for a player to keep him. So he's probably going to add anywhere from $24 to $25 million a year. I'm not going to have that much money tied up in 2
That is a lot of money for a defensive tackle. That is a lot.
Especially with the news of Pedarian Mathis, and you still got John Ridgeway, you got David Bottom, you still have Jonathan Allen. You know, I'd rather allocate that money to other places, such as maybe like the offensive line for one. The safety too, if you think Derek Forrest or Cam Curl isn't the answer, personally I would resign Cam Curl.
Please resign Cam Curl this offseason.
I would roll with Derek Forrest, but if I didn't still feel comfortable about my safety position, I would sign somebody like Jordan Poyer from the Bills, who plays in a similar defensive scheme. At linebacker, the same thing with Kamren Evans. I would purge them and get them and bring them along. But my first priority would be to resign my own players. So it'd be like Kamren Curl, extend Montez Sweat, extend Antonio Gibson if I don't trade them. And then I would bring in a guard or somebody, maybe like a Nick Davis from Tennessee, to fill that left guard position. I think Chris Paul can handle the right guard position, or if I bring in a tackle, maybe somebody like an Andre Dillard. He looks like the best free agent tackle on the market. Put him at right tackle and move Cosme inside the guard because that's where I think he plays better.
I please move Samuel Cosme to right guard, please.
Yeah, I would draft also the kid from Wisconsin, the Templeton guy for center because we need consistency. We need somebody who's going to play healthy at least 15 games at the position because you can't count on Chase Roullier. I probably would cut Tyler Lawson. We just need consistency there at that tackle position. But like I said, this is not a great draft in my opinion. I know the corners we would want, they're not getting past the top 10, I don't think. Especially Joey Porter Jr. I think he goes in top 10, and I think Christian Gonzalez goes in top 10.
I do too.
I'm pretty sure that I'm almost 100% certain if the Eagles stay in the top 10, the top 5, they're getting Joey Porter Jr. There's no way they're letting him get past him, especially when they only got Bradbury for this year on contract.
Yeah.
I can't see them do that. Howard Rose is way too smart for that. But whoever the offensive coordinator is, they're going to want to bring in their quarterback. They're not going to let their whole reputation rely just solely on Sam Howell. And I think Sam Howell could be a good quarterback in the league. But what offensive coordinator is going to risk that?
Yeah, they're going to bring in somebody. Somebody.
Yeah, maybe if he was the first round of the year, you can go with that. Not a fifth round.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's just not going to happen. Everybody's not going to be a Brock Purdy. And every coach can't teach the position like Kyle Shanahan can.
Yeah, he's different. Kyle Shanahan is just different.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at there's certain coaches they teach, and there's certain coaches that are CEOs. Our head coach is a CEO. He couldn't teach the position. People like Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan and Doug Peterson to a point, they know how to teach that position.
Yep.
The most of the quarterback. So
Yeah.
that's what I think. But, that's all I got for you this week, Rico.
All right, my boy Merle, man, appreciate it. What you about to say?
Who you got in the game with this today?
See, if Pat Mahomes is fully healthy, I have the Chiefs. But the problem is, I mean, that high ankle sprain, that's normally like a month, so we'll see. Healthy, I got the Chiefs, but I don't know with Pat Mahomes a little banged up. And then I think the 49ers will beat the Eagles, but maybe that's just because me rooting against the Eagles, so I don't know. Maybe I'm not objective and neutral enough for me to give an actual informed opinion on that. I just know I'm definitely rooting for the 49ers for sure.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for the 49ers, but I got the Eagles winning that game. Chiefs Bengals game, even if Patrick Mahomes was healthy, I got the Bengals winning. I think the Bengals winning all this year. Joe Burrow's a different cat, man.
I think Joe Burrow is like 18-1 against the spread, right? Or 19-1, something crazy like that. Like that man Joe Burrow does not play about that spread. So if that's one statistic, you could definitely use to legitimize the Bengals for sure.
Yeah, that dude's just different. I'm just telling you. He got that like Joe Montana vibe, where he just knows how to play the game, and everybody else is just a step behind.
Yeah, I love my Georgia Bulldogs, but I'm glad we didn't have to face that LSU team that won that championship, because ain't no defense in the world for that. There's no defense in the world for that offense that LSU had that year, bro. It's none. It doesn't exist.
Oh, no.
It doesn't exist.
They were smoking anybody they met with their offense.
Putting 40 on everybody. It didn't matter. The only reason I felt like this Georgia team could have had a chance is because our offense could have went back with them on points, but the last year, like Nakobe Dean and them, I love them, but our offense wasn't good enough to keep up with LSU, and there's no defense in the world that could have stopped them from scoring 40. So I don't know, man. That LSU team was different. Joe Burrow was one of the main reasons, if not the main reason.
I tell you what, people are underrating Stetson Bennett. If I had like a 6th or 7th round, if I had like a 5th or 7th round pick, and I just wanted to mess around, I would draft him.
I would too. With the late round pick, I thought it was weird though that he said he's not doing the Senior Bowl. None of the top quarterbacks are doing the Senior Bowl. No Stetson Bennett, no Will Levis, no Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. I think it's gonna be a really weird Senior Bowl because none of the top quarterbacks, or at least the most famous ones, are gonna be at the Senior Bowl, and I'm surprised him, especially with all that he has to prove to people, that he's not gonna be at the Senior Bowl. But hey, well, I guess we'll see. I hope he runs the 40 at the combine though, because I think he'll surprise some people there and may end up getting drafted sooner because of that.
Well, I tell you what, any GM that's in the top 10 that drafts Will Levis should be fired.
Yeah, I'm not Team Will Levis at all. I'm right with you. I do not want him.
I don't understand how they have him projected to be the first quarterback off the list.
Yeah, that's Mel Kiper for you. Mel Kiper loves some Will Levis, man.
Well, he can draft it to the Ravens. That's his team, but no. Will Levis should not go. Honestly, he shouldn't go in the first round.
Yeah, some people feel like especially after the combine, he might go number 1. Some people.
If you saw him, if you watch SEC football, you would know why he should not go in the first round. That dude's got Jay Cutler written all over him.
I never heard that comp, but that's pretty funny. I can see that. I can see Jay Cutler.
That's who he is. He's Jay Cutler is Vanderbilt.
That's pretty funny. That's a new one, but that's really. I am really afraid that that's what he can end up being. I'm definitely afraid of that. Please avoid Will Levis. Please, Commanders.
I just want to see the team that actually drafts him in the first round so I can laugh at him.
Yeah, we all gonna be waiting for that one. The Will Levis countdown. Yeah. I might have to start that during the draft. When I'm live streaming during the draft, we may have a Will Levis watch.
You got to. Now, I would draft C.J. Stroud first. That'd be the first quarterback to come off. If I was a GM, I would draft C.J. Stroud first.
Yep, there's an argument to be had for sure. You can make an argument for Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, but not Will Levis. I just don't see it.
Here's the thing: Bryce Young would be my first, but the problem would be smaller than Kyler Murray.
Very small.
See what Kyler Murray's been going through.
Short and skinny.
I don't like quarterbacks that small.
Yeah, he's too skinny. It's not even just height, because Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, they're short, but at least they have like a little bit of weight to them, a little bit of muscle. Bryce Young is literally short and skinny. I'm pretty sure I weigh more than him. I'm pretty sure I weigh, and that is scary for your franchise quarterback, especially taking number 1 overall. But if we're just talking pure talent, arm strength, being able to read the field, IDing potential blitzers, changing protections, Bryce Young is easily the best quarterback. But C.J. Stroud gives you the size.
But his size concerns me.
Yeah,
especially in the NFL, you're going to get smacked.
Yeah, see, literally Bryce Young at 6'5", 200-something pounds would be a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion. At least more polished coming out of college, but he's just too small, and that's what's gonna scare people.
No doubt. If he had, let's say, Will Levis size, no doubt he'd be a can't miss prospect.
Oh yeah, can't miss at all. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I could plug and play him day 1.
Exactly. Yeah, Bryce Young could easily start day 1. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, Merle. We got some more callers coming in. I appreciate that.
All right, man.
Yes, sir. My boy Merle. Now we got my boy Command Center coming in the building. I saw you in the chat. What's good? Oh, let me restart your thing too. But what's good, Command Center?
Hey, man, how you doing?
What's
I forgot
good?
You were streaming today. I almost missed you.
Hey, what's good, man? Appreciate it. Hey, better late than never. I mean, technically not late, though. I'm still chilling. We chilling, just streaming, talking, whatever.
Man, I'm so pumped about the, now that it's draft season.
Yeah.
Been doing mocks and looking at all the prospects.
So fun. I'm telling y'all, that's the most fun part of the season. I mean, I love the actual games, but it's something about draft and free agency, the off-season stuff that's just so fun. Trying to do different scenarios and stuff like that. I'm right with you, man. I love it. My one thing I do have to admit, though, I have not been on the college film sessions as much as I should have been because I've been so heavy into high school recruiting right now, and I've been watching all the huddles for that. I'm going to get to my college stuff soon for my Commanders, but I've been heavy on the high school stuff from my Georgia Bull. I've been looking at guys that are in the 9th grade, 8th grade, especially Julian Lewis, the quarterback. So, like, I'm a little bit behind. I know you're definitely ahead of me when it comes to the college players so far, but I'm gonna get there.
Man, I've been grinding like there's a kid that just played in the NFLPA Bowl, Titus Sween, running back. Like I hadn't heard of him, and that dude, he balled out. He had 73 yards and 22 receiving yards. Like this running back I'd never heard of from Wyoming. Man, this is a deep running back class. Regardless of what people say, I think this is a really deep offensive line class. The corner depth is crazy.
Great corners, yes, for sure.
Like honestly, like it sounds crazy, but I've been saying like our all in. Like Ron should just go all in, you know, it's his last shot. But like all in for us, I think would be, you know, trading away those future picks. Like every coach is allowed to trade 3 years in advance for the same reason, like that's going on with us now, so that if the team gets sold or a coach gets fired, it doesn't screw the next person over.
Yeah.
But this is Ron's last chance, and Dan's going out the door anyway. I'd pony all 21 of those picks up and get as many late first, second round picks as we could for them, because it would be no problem at all to build an offensive line out of this draft that could start and be way better than what we've had. And then like the corners, I mean, I just got turned on to this Julius Brents from Kansas State. It's all Hulk cornerback, you know, way down the line.
Putting me on.
Man, there's a lot of...
I say you definitely putting me on. Like I said, I'm behind.
Yeah, this dude... Yeah, the corner, it's crazy deep. Wide receiver even, like they're talking like this isn't a great wide receiver class, but like we kind of need size at receiver. Oh, I know you're an Armani Rogers guy, man. What would you think of making him a wide receiver? Like Cam Sims is a free agent. What if we just plugged Rogers in at his spot?
Yeah, because I know he was trying to gain weight to play tight end too, and I think that might be a good idea. Just go ahead and let him get back to how slim he used to be and just throw him out there like you said, like a Cam Sims type of guy, but maybe even a little bit shorter, but a little bit faster as well. However we got to use him and get him on the field, I'm down. I feel like only reason that like if we were to bring in Thomas Brown and he's so great with tight ends, then at that point I'd probably keep him as a tight end. But other than that, I think Armani Rogers at receiver, it would give the next offensive coordinator more urgency to learn how to use him than if he was just a tight end. You could just kind of disregard him and move him to the side. Like, he should be blocking anyway. But if he would have switched to wide receiver full time, I think they would take more time to develop him.
He's gotten better at blocking over, this year too. So, I mean, he'd be a really good blocking, like run blocking wide receiver. For a wide receiver, he'd be excellent.
I agree.
Compared to how he's doing at tight end, which, I mean, he wasn't doing bad at tight end, but as a wide receiver, he'd be like Hines Ward level, like run blocking.
Bulldog. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and if we don't do that, there's some like big wide receivers that are kind of sleepers, like Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa. That dude's getting slept on. I think he's a beast.
Okay.
And then I mean, everybody knows like A.T. Perry, like he's gigantic from Wake Forest, and he's good. But then UCLA's got a transfer from Duke that's in the draft. Jake Bobo.
Don't know that guy.
That dude, he's 6'5", and like he moves smooth, like he catches everything, like I could see him, like he doesn't have quite the production, but I could see that guy totally being like another Cooper Kupp or something. Like he's getting way slept on. All these guys are projected in like day 3, and I mean it's kind of what we could use as far as wide receiver, because we're so stocked with everything else. Get some size out there.
Yep.
Like everybody talks about like Sam with Daz Newsome and Diami, but when he first came in, he had Bo Corrales, his big 6'3", 6'4", like 215-pound wide receiver that was like his safety blanket. So, I mean, he likes big receivers too. So there's plenty of those guys out there.
Especially since Logan Thomas may not be here. Logan Thomas, they may cut him to save some cap space after the way he looked this past season. So we probably gonna definitely need some size. I mean, hopefully Cole Turner emerges, but we're gonna need some size, some guys that are tall that can catch some passes this upcoming season for sure.
Oh man, I would be, especially if we could get some extra picks, I'd be all for getting your Georgia Bulldog tight end there, because I mean, for all the platitudes about that guy being an extra lineman on the field, like
literally,
he's got a freaky catch radius too. Like my, I just had that video come out. I just did a video like yesterday or something like that, and it was about a scenario of like us bringing Brady here and going in for him, and that was like one of the top dudes I think we should draft if we, just happen. I'm not saying we should bring Brady in. I just did a video about that scenario and how it would work for us. But you bring Washington in, and he'd just be like the new Gronk for him. And then we still have him, after Brady's gone. But that guy's a freak.
And I wanted to make sure I showed your channel on the screen too. My boy Washington Command Center on the phone right now. Make sure y'all check them out. Make sure y'all subscribe, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. A lot of talent. I'm excited about Sam Howell. I hope he does get the nod going into next season. Like, I really don't think we should go. I think like a cheap veteran, just to kind of push him a little bit and go along with him. But I really don't want to. I don't want us to draft a high pick. I just think there's so much more we could do, with those the draft picks.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in the business of like trading back. Do what you got to do to get more picks in this draft. Because like I said, I don't feel like there's like a Jameson Williams or a Kyle Hamilton in this draft. But there's a lot of really good players with Pro Bowl potential. So if you can get as many guys as you can in those first 3 rounds, I think it would be huge.
I mean, just for an example, like our offensive line, like if we traded back, I just think if we ended up with 3 extra picks, like in day 1 and day 2, like we could make a heck of an offensive line. Like somebody like Anton Harrison in the first. I know you said you hadn't watched him yet. But
I haven't seen him yet.
Anton Harrison. Blake Freeland is like one of my other favorite tackles. A dude's like Lane Johnson without like the nastiness. He just moves like a tight end, big, long, like agile tackle. And I like DeJuan Jones, man. Like he's got all the tools. Like he's got rare tools, man. So I'd love to see him too. And then inside, there's so many center prospects that I would feel great about in this draft. Like Ricky Stromberg's like one of my favorite, but I know he's not the best. I just like the way he plays. But like John Michael Schmidt, like Jarrett Patterson, who's got, guard and center flexibility there. Like, there's quite a few. I'm like kind of blanking here, but there's so many centers we could try out. Steve Avila, who also has the flexibility.
I was out Georgia wise. I was happy, but I was sick Commanders wise. Cedric Van Pran going back because I really liked him, and I thought maybe like this draft, I feel like we can maybe sneak and get him outside of the first round. I think he's gonna end up going in the first round. The next draft, the 2024 draft, I think once he goes back. So I was sad because I started to mock him to the Commanders too, and I was really excited. But yeah, there's so much offensive line talent. I'm right with you. If we could somehow end up with like 4 picks within the first 2, 3, 4, or 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, somehow 4 or 5 picks, I think that would be. We would end up with so much good talent, corner, offensive line,
like
linebacker.
Like from this draft, I think they both end up going in like the second, maybe early third. But if you could get Voorhees and John Michael Schmidt, those are both dudes. They're 6-year seniors, and those are both dudes that would plug right in and be better than what we've had, especially with Roulier being injured.
Yep.
I mean, you plug those guys in, day one starter, high level, and then. I mean, there's just so many other guys that you could take in the draft to fill it out elsewhere. Like there, I think it's a little low. I think this draft's like a little low on like actual like elite trait like tackles. Like honestly, I think that Blake Freeland and DeJuan Jones are probably like the two like real. Like the way the NFL's going, like they're the two kind of guys that have the tools to play left tackle, even though Jones was playing right tackle. Like they have that Jordan Mailata size, you know, and athleticism. But there's a lot of guys like Darnell Wright from Tennessee. Like there's so many guys. Like I wouldn't mind seeing them all. We could move them into guard, like just draft all tackles and then, put some of them at guard, play them throughout. Like if they can play left tackle, they can play guard really well,
Yeah, especially with athleticism for sure.
Like Jalen Duncan, like people were, and I love a homer, but like people were, acting like he was a first round kind of talent, like early on. I was like, I don't really see it. Especially not a tackle, but with his athleticism, I think if you plug Jalen Duncan in at guard, like he would bully people. But
Rivera and them said that offensive line is going to be the top offseason priority. So if we don't bring in some serious talent in the free agency, you already know what we doing in those first couple of rounds in the draft.
Yeah, like free agency, man, like. I know it's crazy that like our defense has got so much going for it, but if it was up to me, like I would just get Jamel Dean, the corner, and Tremaine Edmonds.
Oh, I love
and then
Tremaine
re-sign our guys, and then just dump all the draft picks in the offensive line. Get that cornerback 1 type guy with Jamel Dean, get a freaky linebacker, and just run with it. Like. I think it's easier for offensive linemen to like come in and start from day one than it is to expect that from a corner.
It's a good point. That's a good
or a
point.
linebacker. Like linebackers are so hit and miss, and they take so long to develop. And like cornerbacks usually don't really hit their stride until like year 3.
Literally, yeah.
So just get a guy that's already ready. And I don't know if I commented on your one of your last videos earlier, but Keely Ringo, like I wasn't really sold on him, and then like he reminds me a lot of Jamel Dean, like athletically, and like when Jamel Dean came out, he was like just a press man corner, like, but he in his time in the NFL so far, like this year he was the best, like the best corner in zone coverage. So that's why I think he's like perfect for the team. But like Keely Ringo is a carbon copy of this guy. So, and especially now that he's looking like he might go in the second round with all these people jumping up ahead of him into the first, like my man there, Devin Witherspoon.
Man, versatile.
I had a mock from like week 5 where I thought we could get him in like the 3rd.
Ooh, that's
because
done.
nobody was talking about him.
That's done now.
Nobody was talking about him. I was like, oh man, Devin Witherspoon's like my favorite corner in the draft. Maybe we could get him like late second, early third. Nobody was saying anything, and then now it's like 6th overall. Like, I don't know whose mock draft it was, but somebody had him going 6th overall, and I'm like, damn. Like, breaks my heart. At least I like Jalen Jones too, and from Texas A&M, and he hasn't got that much hype, so maybe like he'll be there for us, and like Ringo and stuff like that. Like I would love, like I want to go all offensive linemen, but my favorite prospect in the draft is Antonio Johnson, who's basically like the supersized version of David Branch.
Yeah.
You know, like elite star nickel player. So like I would love to pair, like get him at late in the first, and then get Jalen, his teammate, you know, the cornerback later, who's, I mean, they're both huge. They're both like 6'3", like 210 pounds.
And that's working really well with us in St. Juice.
Yeah, like just imagine that, like Ben St. Juice on one side, 6'3", 200-some pounds, and then on the other side, Jalen Jones, 6'2.5", like 210 pounds. And then at the nickel position, instead of, you know, Bobby McCain, we're going to have this dude that's, the way I describe him is it's like he's like everything I loved about Jalen Petrie last year, but with like the physical attributes of Kyle Hamilton. And we're like, I kind of fell out of love with Kyle Hamilton because like he was getting burnt out of the slot.
Yeah. Like
this dude doesn't get burnt out of the slot. He lives in the slot. He's a star, like a nickel player. So, and on our defense, that should be a starting role. You know, the Buffalo nickel is, you know, Ron's hanging his hat on that. So
yeah,
it makes sense. If we'll take a linebacker in the first round, we should be willing to take, you know, a player that's basically a cross between a linebacker and a corner, even though Ron has refused to take corners in the first round.
Absolutely refused.
Well, I mean, part of it doesn't make sense because of how the system protects, you know, the scheme protects. You know, that zone coverage really, you can plug pretty much any kind of athlete in there and end up, you know, with decent results. But so that's kind of like why I was against getting a first round guy last year. But I mean, it would be awesome, like, to split the difference there. He's technically a safety, but he's 6'3". He's going to be replacing a linebacker, and it's you know, like slot corner. So he's like all of that. So I think it would be worth it. Just like David Branch. I know you're talking about David Branch in the video. And like just that safety. Like we'd have, you know, Curl, Defoe, and Johnson, and then Percy Butler would just be there to spell them all. You know, he's just there when everybody gets a little winded, and defenses wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, man. Hit me up on Twitter or whatever. Let's do something one day, like some draft talk or something. Make a video or something.
Bet I gotta get to watch some film, man. After signing day this Wednesday, February 1st, I promise I'm gonna get really heavy into this college tape for the NFL. But like I said, I've been so just drenched in high school tape so far. I mean, I've been watching college tape here and there, but after that, I super got you. But yeah, we definitely got to set something up for sure.
Hey, we could talk free agents too, whatever. Either way, just ways to help the team, offensive coordinators, whatever. Just play some off-season GM.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, bet. I'm definitely all right. I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter then for sure.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, peace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let me answer a few more questions in the chat before I go, because I'm about to go ahead and
goodbye.
I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to watch these NFL games and everything. Just wanted to stream for like an hour little over an hour just before that. But I see Dominique said, what you think about bringing in Aaron Rodgers, let him sit behind him and learn, or would you rather just stay with Sam? It's just the fact that we gotta pay Aaron Rodgers, and we're already trying to figure out how we're gonna pay Payne, how we're gonna pay Curl long term, and even maybe like a Cole Holcomb, and then somehow build this offensive line maybe through free agency and or the draft. So my problem with bringing in a veteran like that, and of course I think Aaron Rodgers still has it to a certain extent, but I just the money he would cost, just like same thing with Derek Carr, the money that he would cost. I just think it would hurt the team more than it would necessarily help, because we wouldn't be. I mean, you plop Aaron Rodgers on here, and then we basically still have the same offensive line we had last year, unless we go crazy on offensive line in the draft, which I hope we do. You know, it's going to be better, and we will make the playoffs, but I don't know how far we would make it. Even as great, I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't even make the playoffs this year, so it's just like. I mean, I love him, and he would easily be an upgrade, but I think he might as well just go ahead and build around Sam Howell and let him do whatever he has to do. If he ends up being terrible for some crazy reason, which I don't think he will be, now you have the offensive line, the receivers, the weapons, and the defense, and you just need to put a new quarterback there, and he should succeed. So I say go with that strategy. We've seen what happens to skinny QBs. RG3 got broke up. Yeah, poor guy. Sleeper, Stephen Jones from Appalachian State. Chase Young has not lived up to expectations. Yeah, I'm sad about that. I really hope Chase Young comes back going crazy this year. I mean, at least he'll be healthy this offseason. The problem is, though, it's not even like health or athleticism. It's technique, and I just feel like even while hurt, he could have been working on his hands. So I'm just not understanding why Chase Young didn't come back with better hand usage and counters. What was he doing the whole time he was rehabbing? We need to just go ahead and get him that Ip Man little wooden thing with the like that and all something, because his main problem is technique, hand usage, all the like the hand stuff and counters and rush plans, and it just seemed like he didn't even really improve from that. He looked good when he came back at the end of the season, but it wasn't like it. But it was because of his athleticism that he was winning. I wish if he would have had some technique, we might have seen something. He might have got himself a sack before the season ended. That was upside with Brady. He played for $15 million last year, plus best as free agents. Yep. Yeah, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers is taking a pay cut. That's why Brady has so many Super Bowls, because he was willing to take pay cuts. Yeah, he's great, but he was also willing to take pay cuts, which these other quarterbacks weren't willing to do. Got in right at the buzzer, ran out the clock. He needs to do the Aaron Donald knife fight and try bruh something. It can't be what he's doing. Whatever he's doing so far isn't working. It's got to change. It's got to be something dramatically different, because I didn't see much improvement in hand usage those last couple of games compared to the last time we saw him before he got hurt. I didn't see enough of a jump there. I mean, I don't know what happened at that Von Miller thing he was doing in the offseason, the little camp that Von Miller had. I don't know what he was working on during that time, but it clearly wasn't hands. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. I will catch y'all next week with a stream as well. I'm probably going to do a video today, so make sure y'all stay tuned for the videos and all of the content. Y'all know I'm coming out with videos every day. Like I said, I have so many video ideas that I really need to be coming out with videos 2 or 3 times a day and not even just one a day. But I'm definitely, even though I did a live stream today, I'm also going to do a video a little later on, so stay tuned for that. And again, I'll catch y'all every Sunday with call-in shows just like this. And I appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody to support it. Leave a like on the way out, of course. I should have been said that. Make sure y'all pull up next Sunday as well. I'm about to drop a Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl prospect video. Okay, make sure y'all check out my boy Washington Command Center too. I showed y'all his channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to my... Oh, I got to move this out the way. This is all in the way. Make sure y'all subscribe to my boy and check out his content too as well. And I'm going to catch y'all later. I am out.